All right, welcome to the Stop Money Anxiety Now live podcast episode number 9, From Zero to Financial Hero. All right. Welcome back to another live broadcast of the Stop Money Anxiety Now podcast. I am your host, Wei Hong from the Six Figure Academy.
And I'm Jessica, also from the Six Figure Academy.
And this is the podcast where we give you real world tips. I always have trouble saying it. Real world. It's like a tongue twister. Strategies and interviews with some amazing entrepreneurs like the one we have on our show today on how to eliminate the destructive money habits and anxiety so that you can create a prosperous and abundant lifestyle and business free of financial stress and worry. So how are you, Jessica?
I'm great. So how are you? I feel like every week we focus on my weekend or my week.
I know, right?
Let's give you the spotlight.
You're the millennial with the
let's
the
give
exciting...
the chance for my head to shrink down a little
well,
bit.
It's because we all like to live vicariously through the world of millennials. We have no responsibilities on this planet. You can go out and just kind of like find your way. It's so much more exciting.
I wish that sounds great. That does not sound like my life, but
hey, your life is actually taking off pretty well, from what I understand. Your business is taking off. You have, it's the cool thing about working at the Six Figure Academy as an entrepreneurial kind of center is that you get to have your own business at the same time.
I know.
And we fully support it, which is kind of cool.
I can't thank you enough. I really can't.
How fun is that? So, yeah, well, okay, great. Well, this weekend I actually went up north to see, to go to my cousin's wedding.
How was that?
At Testarossa Winery over in Saratoga. It was beautiful. I was ravaged with a lot of. I'm going through some body work stuff with my spine and everything. It's releasing. It's actually made me having allergies, which I've never had in my life, which was interesting. I realized later that my body was purging, but anyway. Interesting. So I was there, and it was interesting. It was a cool wedding. Yeah. My cousin is obviously Chinese, and her husband is from Austria. I think he's Belgian. Huh. So it was really cool seeing two people, two different accents and speaking. It was nice. It was very cool. And he's a carpenter, so he carved these amazing name things that everybody gets.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. So it was like a small, intimate wedding? Super intimate. Super small. That's a lot of detail. That's a lot of love.
Yeah. So, and then from there, but my big thing was when I got there, I got a chance to hang out with my dad, who I haven't seen in almost 2 years.
How was that?
It was good. I think he expected me to be still angry at him. Not that I was angry at him. Well, I guess maybe a little bit.
Do you mind if I ask, on the basis of like what?
Well, last year my parents got a divorce, and so for me there was a lot of turmoil, and I was asked to kind of mediate at one point, and I was like, no, I can't mediate.
Not the best
even though that I've been able to do that for my own clients, but these are my parents.
It's family.
It's family. So,
so how was that meet up with your dad?
It was good. He was happy, and I got a chance to find out even more information, just how brilliant my dad is. He was telling me about VCSEL, and it's this laser technology. And my dad, his whole life has been dedicated to developing laser technology. And the technology behind like the 360 Xbox 360 where they sense your body movement, that's his technology. It's more than just laser print. This whole time,
you just found that out?
I just found that out. I mean, he says I could send you all the studies and the lab work and stuff.
Wait,
like
didn't you just find out your uncle was like some billionaire?
No. My godfather.
Your godfather,
also a mentor. No, I've known he's been a billionaire, but
I thought you had this. Or aunt, I think it was your aunt who you just found out not too long ago that
she's really well to do. I have an aunt who's the only other entrepreneur in our family on my dad's side. And when my uncle passed away, I found out all these different things. They were responsible for foundations for people who are immigrating to the U.S. and helping them kind of live and prosper. And they came over here with nothing. Yeah, I mean, they came over here and started a restaurant, but every morning right off the bat, they knew how to tithe. They're big on they're big in the Christian community, and they actually every morning they would actually take beef broccoli because they had a Chinese restaurant and send out a tray every morning to the homeless. And someone says, "You're barely making ends meet. You just got here. You just immigrated." And she basically said, well, homeless people need food too.
Man.
And from there, she naturally figured out to tithe, to give, is part of your prosperity movement, part of your prosperity growth and abundance.
That's beautiful.
The more you give, the more you get, type of thing. Yeah.
It's interesting to me that you're the age that you are, and you are discovering so many things about your family
that I never knew.
Yeah.
So it's surprising, right?
Well, and to find out that these, members of your family, they're not just this member of your family. They have a whole story on their own.
Huge story. And, and in my dad's side, it's just layers of all different things. Good, bad, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. And then my godfather, and this all ties into our guest today. So this is why I'm kind of excited you took me there, because, my godfather, he, he's like that homeless looking billionaire.
Yeah.
He's a really old man.
He's very humble.
Yeah, very humble. He was actually at the Icon Summit where I spoke at, and you met him.
Yeah.
And he's just
he's a character.
And he'll walk around, start singing songs to himself like a crazy old man. But then you look around the room and nobody has any idea that he's the wealthiest guy in the room, a billionaire with multiple patents of things that he's created and stuff like that. With his name on it. Yeah. But he started out, and the reason why I don't have him on the show, because English is kind of a bit of a challenging thing, but I wish maybe one day we'll have him on the show. Just kind of figure it out. But he started off picking strawberries for 25 cents an hour with an MBA graduate degree, 2 kids. When he came out at the age of 42, found himself having a job picking strawberries in a field for 25 cents an hour.
Man.
From there, barely surviving. Do you see a trend here? Getting to where he is today.
Jeez.
Starting at age 40. So for those of you out there who are under age 42...
Don't lose hope.
There is no such thing as being too old. And then there's people like, Colonel Sanders, who didn't make it till after 60. Louise Hayes, until after 60. Mm-hmm. So it's never too late to tap into that prosperity and abundance flow, And he gave me this book called Getting Rich Your Own Way. And they did a study. I love study-based, like this PhD person, it's a study based on how people became millionaires. And they said most of the time it's by accident. But the way to do it by accident is if you're passionate and you focus on your work, your craft, what it is that you're here to do. And I think that is so... I read this last night, and I was like, this is so relevant to our guest today.
So who is our guest today, Wei?
So our guest today is really cool. I love this guy because I love his story. I love where he came from. I've known him for a while now, and he's such an inspiration. Every time I think about my why, my purpose, and my passion... it always comes back to one of the stories that I think about is when our guest today, Dr. David Suh, shared me his story about where he came from. Now, Dr. Suh has been, he's been a student of mine in one of my courses in a previous business, and we've just been colleagues and been in the same networking circles and everything. And I'm so glad to finally get him. Now, today, Dr. David Suh is a CEO and founder of the Educational Center for Dentists. He's also a motivational speaker, international speaker. He has spoken all over the world, inspiring people on a variety of different topics. More importantly, also, is that he's religiously devout. He's a family guy, not like the show Family Guy, but he's a family guy. His story is amazing. He served our country, continues to serve, and because of that, there's a very unique thing that he brings to the table. He's the from zero to financial hero is the title of our show today, and he started a business as an entrepreneur, going from a negative balance, taking him all the way to financial, where he is today. And we'll go into more to learning about who he is, but I'm really, really excited to bring him onto the show. And welcome to the show, Dr. Suh.
Thank you, Wayne.
Hi, Doctor.
Thanks for having me.
So he's already taking notes on this whole page of notes. So such a student. So before we get started, if you are just joining us on either Spreaker.com, which is where you can find us live on Spreaker.com, because on Spreaker.com, this is where you can interact with Dr. Suh and the rest of us by just entering, saying hello, asking questions in the chat. It'll pop up on our screen so you can ask us directly all that's going on. That sound that you hear is Jessica trying to
sneakily rip a piece of paper,
tearing it out. But so anyway, But yeah, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's good
Appreciate
to finally get you on here. Now, there's a couple stories that I would love for you to share. And since this show is called Stop Money Anxiety now, it's all about people's money stories. Why don't we start with your money story? Because I'm sure people will say, well, from zero to financial hero, this guy is, doing well, have a family, travels around the world, speaks for a living, also teaches, which is one of your passions.
Surgeries.
Does live surgeries. What is your money story? Because on the sheet here, when you gave us your kind of a bio thing, you started with business with negative balance and then taking it to financial stability. I mean, I'm sure a lot of entrepreneurs always love to hear, how do we get out of that rut? How do we get out of that seemingly hamster wheel that, oh my God, why did I become an entrepreneur? My balance is, I'm constantly bouncing checks and I have to make it up for it. Those types of things.
Well, during my lectures, I always say, the old saying, you work smarter and not harder. I told myself, you work wiser, not harder.
So what's the difference between the smarter and the wiser?
Smart knows exactly what to do, but wise man knows exactly what not to do.
Ooh, I like that.
So I always go, that's my father told me a long time ago. So I stuck in my brain for all these times. And so one of during my lecture, I say that financially you have to be, the wiser. Yes, smart is good, but being wiser.
Yeah.
So smart people doesn't know how to be a wise, but wise man knows how to be a smart.
Oh, so your goal is, well, you have to be smart first, right?
Yeah, that's true. But hopefully then you become wiser.
Become wiser.
Yes.
And I think somebody said, I think it was Dan Millman said, wisdom is taking action and having the experience based on the knowledge that you have.
Exactly.
Right? Based on smartness, right? I love that. The wiser piece. How to be wiser. And I think that's a big piece, because one of my coaches had told me one time, it's just as important to know what not to do than it is to know what to do. Just as important to know what you don't want as well as what you do want, right?
It's easy to change, or wants to change if you know what to do. But if you don't know what to do, you don't even know what to change.
Yeah.
So you got to figure that out first.
Yeah.
So and another rule of thumb that I go by is always ask. ASK means always seeking knowledge. Always
seeking knowledge. Yeah, I tell people all the time that the day I go through a day where I don't learn at least something new is the day I should die.
Yeah, so you always ask, and even if it's child, even if it's next door neighbor.
Oh, children are the best teachers.
Exactly.
The most honest.
True, definitely. So I always ask myself, okay, I'm going to ask something. Okay, if I ask the knowledge I didn't know, and I'm going to ask my friend. If he or she is my friend, she'll tell me. Right. The moment she finished her sentence, then I know the same knowledge as she is that subject matter. So I'm going to gain my knowledge, not only financially, but anything in life.
Yeah.
So I always ask, always seeking knowledge.
Always seeking knowledge. So how did that help you with your money story, with your financial story, in terms of, because you had to start your business from somewhere.
Exactly.
Right.
I've been doing this for almost 30 years.
Wow.
And being I was a naval dental officer, and so for serving the country for 10 years, and I had private practice.
Thank you for continued service.
Oh, thank you. And financially it's not really great, and because you're serving the country, but it's a private practice.
Right.
That's a different ball game.
Yeah.
And being owning a dental business is a lot of money. You have to borrow from the banks and whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
But I didn't have a lot of money at the time, and buying a practice, typically is going actually south, meaning that people leave because they don't want to see new doctors, even though it doesn't matter how good or how bad it is,
right?
But they want to see their own doctors. It's normal.
Yeah.
So my practice, just like anyone else, is going dipping down south, and actually below my zero. I was it's like I'm sinking so fast.
So at one point you were a negative balance.
I was a negative, beyond negative balance. So it's nervous being in own business, and I gotta pay the bills and pay employees. So one thing I learned is, okay, let's smart, but let's be wiser. Meaning I cut a lot of my unnecessary income. I mean, and expenses.
Expenses, okay.
I mean, to the point that I'm a chip.
Yeah.
But I have to pay the bills.
Right.
I have to pay my staff.
Right.
So, as a business owner, any business owner, you have to know where money goes. It's not how much you make; it's matter how much you spend. That's the key. One of the key in financial world.
That's the wisdom thing, the wiser part, right?
Exactly. It's not people say, "Oh, I make $1 million." It doesn't mean you make $1 million or 10 million. If your expense is more,
right,
then it doesn't do any good. So it's how much you spend is what matters. That we have to know. So I analyze to the penny how much I need to spend to survive, the minimum. So I, keep up doing that. And also on the side, I've been teaching. Like I said, I've been teaching so many years, and that gives extra income. But point that when I was really struggling with financial, it was very depressing, just like anyone else. It's very depressing, and but I know what I'm capable of. God gave me the little bit of wisdom, and I guess a 10 finger to do what I do right now. So
would you say that moment when it started to not descending but ascending was you just kind of kept sticking to knowing that you would have gotten out of it?
Yeah, and then discipline yourself.
Discipline.
Yeah.
That's the key. You got to discipline. Yes, there's discouragement, but there's encouragement.
Yeah.
Right.
So do you mean discipline financially?
Right, financially.
Okay.
Financial discipline. Yeah.
That's the key.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not how much you make, it's how much you spend.
Okay.
Right.
Yes, I like to go out things. Yes, I like to go to a nice restaurant, vacation. But when you don't have money to pay your staff, that's a concern.
Yeah.
So discipline yourself for so long time. Even I discipline myself even now.
So what kept you from quitting dentistry altogether? Because I'm sure at one point you're thinking like, oh my God, I should just quit. I should just go work for somebody else. Maybe I should just go back to the Naval Academy, military.
Well, probably because my mother. Back in. That's how I become a dentist.
Yeah, let's talk about that story, because that story made me.
I was 8 or 9 years old. One morning, my mother had a severe pain. I still remember she was holding her left hand in her lower jaw part of it. And all she said, "I'm going to go see a doctor." And I was about 8 or 9 years old. And I clearly remember when she turned around, closed the door, her face was so much in pain. And that afternoon, I don't know, she came home at 3, 4 o'clock. She opened the door. She said, "Son, I'm home. Mommy's home." And the morning that I saw her face, and then the afternoon I saw her, is totally night and day difference. That split moment, I want to be the person who fixed my mom. That happens to be dentist. It was someone else, and that probably became someone else. But that happens to be dentist who fixed my mother. So that's the point. So. Answer to where's your question? Why? There's time. Yes, I want to be I don't want to do dentistry, but because my mom, that she didn't say anything about the dentistry, but because my mother's that instance, that's still stuck in my brain for probably the rest of my life. So I didn't want to quit. Then knowing my mother's passed away, but she's watching me over. And so I'm not a quitter. And. Try to be what God gave me, the talents, I guess. 10 fingers. I wanted to help to become like a person who helped my mom. So I want to be that person.
Yeah. For other moms on the planet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's like you and I have spoken a lot in the past about the different stories in your life, and how you can be like. Did you? Most of you probably don't, and you probably don't talk about this often, but you played pro soccer for a little bit, didn't you?
Yeah, I played professional indoor soccer for many years ago.
Yeah.
So is this in between the Navy or before?
The way before. I was in right high school.
Wow.
And what was the motivation? Just because you wanted to?
You mean well, I always enjoyed sports. I played 3 different sports, professional level.
Just 3?
Well,
only 3?
God, what
Come
an
on.
underachiever.
One thing I learned, I grew up in Kansas City.
Yeah.
I grew up in Midwest, early 70s. And it's a small in minority, being an Asian. It's not many Asians back in the 70s. And you have to survive. So I always told, I always say, CAN, can. I am capable. I am able. I'll never quit.
Wait, so you came up with this when you were playing? What?
Yeah. So
really?
There's challenges.
That's why he's a motivational speaker. Get that?
Oh my gosh.
So I am incapable. I am able. I will never quit. Can. So that's another when I lecture, I tell my audience.
Yeah.
And don't quit.
Oh my God, I can just imagine all these students walking into this lecture thinking, "Oh, I'm going to learn some more things about dentistry," and coming out just being totally
empowered, inspired, and like, "Oh my God, my head's blown."
Thank God I went into dentistry.
Well, I try to focus on dentistry, but time to time, young dentists, I try to tell them, I remember going through when I was that age, difficult times, to try to help them out.
Right, because it's not just like you were saying. It's not just about the knowledge. It's about the whole entire being, right?
Exactly.
I mean, it's that's why you do missionary work. You travel for speaking. You travel for that. You do all these types of things. I mean, there are times I remember reaching out to you and it's like, "Oh, he's not in the country right now. What's he doing? He's doing something for his church out in a different country altogether." So you're so active on all areas of your life. I mean, do you attribute that to some of your success? I mean, in terms of not just being, dentist, but also having that wisdom of, when you teach the younger generation, that is not just dentistry. It's all about your motivation, what's inspiring you, what's going to move you forward, because that'll just kind of shift how they look at their career and their path, just as you've done, right?
Yeah. Well, a lot to do with, I guess, influenced by not having mom and dad. I have to survive back in the good old Midwest, which I love them, still do. But 70s, in the early 70s, that's tough part at the time.
Yeah.
So, I always tell you, I have to survive. I can't quit, so that motivated me and to excel and not try to impress anyone else. I have to, impress me and myself. So that became a habit, my custom.
Wow.
My wake up in the morning, just habit, just like we all have habits.
Do it for yourself.
Exactly, and this one. So being sports, since I was a little actively involved in high level of competition. You just habit of my body, my mind, my muscle. It's all habit. Get up in the morning, training. So, going to school and go to work and school work. I did it for all my life, basically after 16 years old. So
wow, that
become a part of my life. And that I would just pass to the next generation that, study is good, but there's more than just a book.
Right.
There's life that I can pass them to help them there. So when they become my age, they can help their next generations.
Yeah.
So that's my goal. So when I teach, all these young dentists, we talk about dentistry, but in dentistry, people, learn. But in life, somebody to show them.
Yeah.
So that's what I try to do to help my audience, my even my kids.
So many gemstones. So again, if you guys are joining us live, and have any questions at all, make sure you punch in your question over in the chat room, and that way we can get that question over to Dr. Sub, because you take advantage of this, because Dr. Sub has a lifetime, 30 years as a dentist, worked in the military, will travel the world helping people pass the word of God and all these different things, and just how he grew up. I mean, from what I understand is that basically whatever you decided you wanted, whatever you decided that you wanted to get, you got it. I mean, you achieved it. I mean, I think years ago, I called you a master manifester, right? I think I called you, like, whatever you wanted, you just manifested and you created, because I think pretty much everything that you told me, everything that you wanted, like being a pro soccer player, being a dentist, doing all these different things, being a speaker, you just made a decision at one point and said, okay, that's what I want to do, and I'm going to get it.
More likely, yes.
Yeah, pretty much, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah, it sounds like quitting was never an option.
No,
it was just like you decided and you just committed and kept going.
Right. And I think for people who want to be successful and prosperous and abundant, and one of the things is we focus so much on that piece. We focus on the money or doing this and that. But what if we just focus on what we like to do, what we want to do? Like the dentistry thing, you never gave up. I mean, had you given up, then you may have just basically given up at the low point and said, that's it, I'm done, versus persevering because you had a commitment that you made in that moment when you saw your mom fixed in one day. And then that was your commitment to your mom and all other future moms that you would want to be able to have an impact and be able to do.
Well, that's definitely true. And also, where you mentioned about financial, I mentioned before, he said works, wiser, smart, not smarter. I don't want to, people think the wrong way. You have to be smart. But when you become a wiser or try to be wiser, where the money, where money shouldn't be going. We always buy things because we want. But I always tell is need and want is two different things.
Right.
If you need it, you have to buy it. It doesn't matter. You need it.
Right.
If you want it, I would tell think twice.
Yeah.
Right.
Can you live without this item or whatever?
Yeah.
Until you get financial stability, is sad.
Right.
But don't just buy because next door has it. Don't just buy because my friends has it.
Right.
Yeah.
Because need and want, you got to know exactly your situation where you are.
Yeah.
I think that's key to me when I was so much struggling with it financially, that I want to make sure I need it, not so much I want it.
So how did you? So I'm sure a lot of entrepreneurs are going through that. It's like how they have blurry definitions of what a need and a want is. So what did you figure out as an entrepreneur, in your dental practice, what the difference is between, how do you define what's a need and what do you define what is a want?
Oh, well, to me, very simple. One is something, can I live without it? Need, I need it, I can't live without it.
Right.
So I define myself as in dentistry, I need equipment.
Yeah.
I need a patient.
Right.
Basically,
Right.
And I need things that I can run daily base.
Right.
But beyond that, can I live without certain things? If the answer is yes, and I'm gonna delay. Not that I'm not gonna buy. I'm gonna delay because I don't have money.
Right.
But many entrepreneurs, from my experience, they receive money, they start buying things.
Right.
That's one of the key mistakes I think we all do.
Right.
Because money is fluctuate, comes and goes.
Right.
So, it's just like stock. You buy, when you have money, that's where time you save.
Right.
We try to save when you don't have money, you don't have nothing to save. So when you have extra income, that's where you save, prepare for the emergencies.
Yeah.
Right.
And get that money's, increase that amount, then you have more room to play with. Now you can think about, I'm going to buy because I want to buy.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Okay, so to me, is that discipline is a key factor.
Right. So it's not so much that you're denying yourself of things that you want. It's you're developing a foundation so that eventually you can get whatever you want and still have a good foundation without, wrecking that foundation just because you're going out to get something that you want.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I know personally for me, and your typical millennial, and I love traveling, what really made me nail down my habit of distinguishing between need and want was when I would be preparing for a trip, like a long-term traveling trip, like a year, right? And obviously, living in LA and just the accessibility for like online shopping, I'd want this, I'd want that, but I would boil it down to, do I need this in the future? Am I going to need this when I'm traveling? What's the functionality of the product that I'm buying? And so I got down to, okay, well, this is something I want, like, pretty dress, but I need this microfiber towel to fit in my luggage so it compresses the space and I'll be able to have a towel that I can shower with. And so 3 months of preparation, and I eventually found out that it became a habit after I came back from traveling. And then I would find this amazing pants or shirt that I liked, but then I was like, oh, do I really need it? Because now I'm preparing for another trip that I want to go to, whether it's somewhere else, and there's like multifunctional items that I could buy instead. Right. Yeah.
So you were on a specific focus in a journey of at that time, which is traveling, and was a need. So, for me, the need and want thing is always an interesting conversation because, when it comes to man, we have basically, I used to say 4, but we have 5 core needs. We need air.
Do we do?
Yeah. We need water, right? We need sustenance, food, and we need shelter, right? The 5th one I add is love, because because we're social beings and everything. Love has been able to do some really amazing things, right? So if we just say 5, but really the core 4, maybe 5 needs. Outside of that, we actually don't need much of anything else. Everything else is pretty much a want. So I think what's so cool about what you described there, Dr. So, is that to be able to identify those similar core needs that our business needs to survive, just like the human body needs to survive.
True.
Right? So like for my office here, for example, we need to be able to pay the office rent. We need to be able to pay our team, right? We need to pay our utilities, the basic utilities, because a lot of our stuff is online, so we have a lot of extra utilities on top of that. And then, what is it that we truly need? Do I really need this big old huge touchscreen behind us over here for the business to continue to run? No. But so for a while, I ran that vicious cycle too. And because I figured out how to bring in as much money as I wanted to, as quick as I wanted to, then I got stuck in this little cycle. It's like, oh, I can get whatever I want. Oh, that's okay. I'll just make more money. I'll just make more money. I'll just make more money. But then it got, vicious cycle until I figured out, oh, wait, there's a foundation that needs to be handled. What if I decide, wake up one day, I don't feel like making money, but I need the money. But I was like, I don't feel like making money. There's no foundation. I was like, oh, great. Okay, well, we'll just kind of reset. I think you're
doing very well, Wade.
But there was a time where we had to, all of us had to figure out, you had to figure that out by hitting rock bottom. I had to figure that out by being broke and hungry and starving, and then we go, oh, wait, there's something missing, right? It's not because we didn't know how to make money. It's just that the foundation, right? How to keep from that up and down, effect. So since then, has it been like this upward trend? Like, have you been able to consistently grow your business?
Slowly, yes, yes.
He's so humble. I mean, he's like, slowly.
I know, while I run this and run that on the side,
But also added to what you said, also you have to put a set of goal. But I think a lot of entrepreneurs set a too high goal. You gotta have to have a reachable goal. It could be financial $1. It's fine. $10. You don't put so much. It depends on what your personality, what your businesses are.
Right.
But for me, set a goal is not so much financial. To me, it's a patience.
Right.
And so, in the marketing aspects of it, and I'm trying to focus on that because people don't know who I am when I just moved to Southern California, South Bay Area. People who have no idea. So I have to put myself out there.
Right.
That's not my goal. Meaning, so any entrepreneur out there, you need to set a goal, reachable goal. And then it could be $1 extra, it could be 1 extra second, whatever it might be. And then as soon as you reach that, don't give up. Discipline yourself to set another reachable goal. So keep moving like a ladder. Then once you get to a certain point, then you can make higher goal. But you don't set a goal beginning too high, you're going to discourage yourself.
Right.
Because you don't have money. Or financially you're a little behind, then just $1 go high. Or 1 penny go high. It's okay. It's only it's your business.
Right. Because there's no limit to how many goals you can keep setting. You hit it, set another one.
Set another. So then also you write it down on the piece of paper. That's what I did every morning or every night before next day. What to do? Not only goal, even call John Doe. I write it down. So I cross out. Even do that. I do that. I cross out all my to-do lists.
Yeah.
Get that done as much as possible. You may not get all, but that's not a goal.
Yeah.
But if you procrastinate it, you will never.
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And you're only blaming yourself. My mother always told me, don't point finger at someone else, because the 3 fingers are pointing at you. So always I don't. So try not to blame on somebody. Just yourself.
Yeah.
So you set a goal, not just a financial, but daily goal, just to-do list. Each time you cross out, it's the end of the day or before I go to bed, I look at it. Oh, I did a 7 out of 10 goal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because tomorrow another goal sets.
Right.
So keep doing that. Make a habit of doing it.
Yeah.
That's the key. And discipline yourself.
And whatever goals you get done, you always want to make sure you give yourself a good job, a pat on the back for doing
it. Why not?
Right?
You deserve it.
Right? Because I used to set goals like that, and if I didn't get the last 3, I was like, 7 out of 10, that's a C. It's like, that's 70%. It's like, why did you get those last 3? And so I would beat myself up. I would literally beat myself up for not getting those last 3. Even.
I need to learn from you, Ray.
No. You don't want to do that. I literally had to learn to appreciate what I've done. Acknowledge my what I've done for the day. I mean, even just yesterday, I almost forgot to do that. I mean, I had so many things I wanted to do, and I got a ton of stuff done. But one of the main things that I wanted to get further along on, which is this new webinar I'm putting together, I wasn't able to get as far as I wanted to. And I said, and I just focused on what I didn't achieve, when in fact, is because I was doing a bunch of other things for the business. I was looking at our cash flow statement. I was looking at our financial statements. I was looking at all these different things, making some financial decisions that needed to be done for the business to maintain the business growth. But I totally kind of dismissed it and looked at where I didn't deliver.
No, I see.
Right? And I caught myself as I'm like, oh yeah. But I did this and this and this and this and this.
Yeah.
Good job, Wei.
I guess that's like a matter of perception, right? Like the difference between someone who's looking at the optimistic side of a situation versus, because there's two ways of looking at a situation.
Yeah, and I think that goes into the whole wisdom thing that Dr. Seo was talking about. That sometimes people are too optimistic and they don't look at the don'ts, that what you don't want to do, what you want to pay attention to. Because if you the general, right, like in the military, looks at the entire battlefield, he doesn't just look at the battles that we won. He looks at also why we lost those other battles.
Right.
What decision did we make that resulted in that end action? Because that way we can save more lives moving forward in the future. In war time, I mean, it's a little bit more, the pressure's on because it's like life and death.
Right.
Unfortunately, maybe fortunately or unfortunately, we don't have that pressure as entrepreneurs or as people here. So we kind of get lazy with learning from our failures, learning from our mistakes. So that we just have this, yay, okay, no, everything is great. Yay, I'm a mistake. Yay, everything is half full.
Being be part of Gulf War, Desert Shield, Desert Storm.
Yeah, that's 90s, when they were there.
Right. And you learn to really appreciate what you have. I mean, and thank the Lord that if it wasn't him, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you.
Oh, man, you got to share one of your. He said there's so many times that he's supposed to die.
Wait, that's a cliffhanger.
Yeah, that is definitely a cliffhanger. But I was a triage officer in Kuwait. But
what?
Oh yes, and so make a long story short.
So explain what a triage.
Okay.
So.
I don't know if you guys are old enough to understand the MASH, the TV show.
Yeah.
Of course.
When a casualty comes and the Hawkeye goes out, hey, you go surgery. This person goes to over there. He triaged them, the casualties. That was my job.
So you were delegating people to
go surgery. You're gonna wait. There's a tax system, so that was my job.
So you were the systems and process and flow director.
I was the first person seeing that casualty. Okay, so I see a lot of casualties.
Oh my gosh.
Those days. So, but the life. Let me ask you, what's the difference, life and death?
Fear.
What's the distance? I'm saying.
Distance.
The distance between life and death.
In an instant, right? It's like that.
One breath.
Ooh.
There's the people I try to save or revive them. One breath ago, he was alive.
Whoa.
One breath later, he was dead.
Right.
And I've experience numerous times. And life is so precious. It really does. And I learned to appreciate when I came home. Learn to really appreciate what I have.
Yeah.
Even as simple as light bulb.
Yeah.
As simple as drinking water that we do daily basis.
Yeah.
Over there it's so hot. Drinking water is so precious.
Yeah.
We take for granted. Turning the light, we take for granted.
Yeah.
Right.
I remember we were right next to air conditioning. The temperature was 97 degrees, right next to AC.
Wow.
So if it wasn't AC, we'd be 150. I don't know.
Holy cow.
Yeah, we had back in that war, it was a biological chemical weapon, so we have to put a gas mask
on top. No way.
Yes. So it was brutal. I mean, it was.
Oh my gosh.
But I look back and taught me how to become a teamwork. That one thing that I take with me the rest of my life from military is teamwork. You can't survive yourself. You have to help. And I need his help, and he needs my help.
Wow.
To learn the teamwork, and that's something I take with me for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
But learn to appreciate what I have. It was, like I said, as simple as it. Turn on the light or water, and with the entrepreneur, setting of goals. Even one goal achievement, that's one goal achievement.
Right.
there's one less I'm going to do tomorrow.
Well, I think what's so poignant about what you said right there, which is such an amazing story, like the difference between life and death, and the difference between from one day to the next of your business is almost the same thing. From one breath to the next, you can actually make one decision that either moves your business forward or the next breath. Yeah. How many times have we, right before we make our decision, exactly. And then here we go, we make a decision in one direction or the other. It's one breath.
One breath, that's true.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. And I always tell, those days I got to make decision.
Yeah.
And, it's maybe different than entrepreneur, but I'd rather make possible, a little bit of wrong decision than no decision. You have to make decision.
Yeah.
If it's wrong decision, you learn from it.
Yeah.
But if you don't make any decisions,
people die anyway.
Yeah, you die.
So take a risk instead.
You got to take a risk, and hopefully, you pray. Man upstairs is looking out for you. But this is during the war. It's not the war that you and I see on TV and movies.
No, it's actual reality.
Reality, and you have to survive. Yeah, that's the one thing I learned to be a survive. I guess. And I think I don't want. It's tough, but I'm glad I went through because it taught me who I am, and that's what I go share around the world and try to let, especially young people. Money is not everything. It's very important things, but it's not everything. And learn how to manage money is most important for a young age.
Yeah.
Okay? Nowadays, all the young sports athletes, they make millions and millions of dollars, but they just don't know how to manage.
Right.
And that's where I think of the way you need to help them,
Send them my way. I'd be more than happy to. There's so much that can be done. Money is such a powerful tool. If leveraged the right way, it's beyond you and I, right? Yeah. It can be done, especially in the world that we live in. Now, if it was Star Trek or something like that, and I say this all the time, where money is not really the main driver anymore, it's the seeking of knowledge, then that's okay. But as long as we're playing this game, capitalism.
High school, I was still remember that Winston Churchill said, "You live with what you get. You live your life with what you give."
Yeah.
You try to give. I think your aunt said. I think that more you give, you get more. You receive more.
Yeah.
And I kind of agree with that. That when you give, not so much financial, but you have just like you share this way, this program, and you give and you get, you rewarded. I guess that's the word I'm trying to looking at. Rewarded and be happy that you did, you give.
Right. One of the best rewards is hearing the stories of people who have had their lives changed. Right. I always tell people all the time, and thank Dan Millman from the movie that he inspired. But basically, there's no greater purpose in life than service to others.
Amen.
Right? If you want to think about what your purpose is and see what it is that you're doing and how it serves others. And if it's not serving people the way you think it should serve, then that's where your focus should be. You do that and have your money foundation handled, the money will come. Right? People say, well, I can't make money doing what I'm passionate about. Well, that's because your money foundation isn't handled.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
If your cash flow isn't good, if your expenditures aren't being handled, that's the only reason. It's not because you can't make money doing what it is that you love. But what drives more money to come in once you got your foundation handled is to do more of what you love, which is what you're doing on so many different levels, which is so cool.
Oh, thank God. So definitely, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm just really curious about, when you made that jump from the Navy to private practice, that's a big shift. And also knowing that you're going to go into debt. So what made you, was it a one step after another? Or was this, you had this thought while you were in the Navy that you, what happened in that one breath?
Maybe it is.
Yeah, but were you toying with the idea of wanting to start a private practice, or was it just, you left and then an opportunity came up, or what was the process?
Probably one of the difficult decisions I have to make, because I enjoyed being on naval life and naval officer, because I learned so much, I traveled so much, but I want to give the community where I lived at the time, and the opportunity came that I could not refuse.
Okay.
But it was very difficult because I enjoyed naval life, and I have still great friends, still contact with them. Yeah. I have 24 guys back then. There's still contact with them.
Wow.
We meet every other day, every other year. Wow. And there's 24 lives that I was responsible for.
Wow.
So I definitely enjoyed it. But move on. And I want to be, being a dentist, I would like to have a private life, private practice.
Right.
That's just goal, kind of.
Yeah.
And then I'm glad I did. And so I have no regrets. And ever since I was 8, 9 years old, all I want to be are 2 things in my life. One was a professional soccer player, and the other one was be a dentist.
And you've done both.
I've done both. So, I'm one of those guys, I guess, thank the Lord that I achieved my goal.
Yeah.
So, from any point on now on, I'm very happy. I'm blessed. I'm trying to be humble and try to help with people.
Do you have any other goals? I mean, not as extreme
what's
career-wise,
next,
but do you have any personal goals that you're working on, or
what's the big legacy impact thing that you want to do?
Actually, I want to go Amazing Race.
Wow.
I've done marathon, I've done triathlon, and not the Spartans race.
Oh, that's right.
But
just knock one more off.
I want to try the Amazing Race, but we'll see.
Gosh, I would. Oh my gosh. Well, let us know when you are on Amazing Race, and
we'll watch it. We'll record
do a spotlight every week on the radio show.
This is where Dr. Sa is right now.
No. We'll do half the show on the interview and half the show on the Amazing Race. So Dr. Sa is on.
I have to find out partners who can.
It's possible.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But that's one goal if I have to, want to try. But I've done. It's something I said, I'm going to try to receive.
So what's holding you back from doing that?
What's holding? Well, I got to fit first. I got to make myself fit first. So I got to start working out, I guess.
Training.
Maybe Wade can join me. Be my partner.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Yeah, that might be kind of fun, right?
Every morning.
Yeah, that'd be kind of fun. I don't know the details of Amazing Race. As long as I have to eat weird things.
I don't know. Actually, I have my sister's friend is actually on this season's Amazing Race.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know the details behind it, but we
should find out.
We could.
Yeah, we should find out and see if that's the case.
You have to submit it, and then you have to pass it.
Yeah, there's so many interviews.
Steps.
A lot of steps.
Well, I have to tell you, though, I mean, Dr. Sa, I actually asked my dad if I could join the military. Probably because I think I felt I needed the discipline back then.
What did Dad say?
My dad goes, "No, why would you do that if you don't have to? Just study." What's wrong with you?
I used to want to join the Marines when I was younger.
Yeah, that's a frontline thing. I wanted to be a Navy SEAL.
I wasn't going that far.
Because, I couldn't be a jet fighter anymore because I had contacts and everything. And back then you had to have perfect vision. And so years later, I actually got together with a bunch of my ex-Navy SEAL friends, and we put together an 18-week training program just so I could see if I could have, made it through BUDS training, the initial training. And I made it through all 18 weeks. 2 of my buddies that I started with, they totally just bailed after the first 2 weeks, and I went through the whole thing by myself, which blew my buddy's mind, because they said that, well, when we do the training at the Navy SEALs, we're not doing it alone. There's a bunch of us, and there's people yelling at us all the time. You did the whole thing by yourself? Yeah, you probably would have made it, you crazy.
I was just about to say they probably thought you're crazy.
Nuts. I was like, I just zone out. I was just like, I just listen for the alarm. That's my focus.
Oh my goodness. Well, you're like very physically active. Yeah. I mean, you're going to do volleyball every week. You're working out every morning.
As active as I can be for a 40-some-odd-year-old. Right?
You're pretty good.
So yeah, maybe if it doesn't seem too obtrusive to what it is that we're both here to do, let's do it. I mean, we could do the Amazing Race.
Next season we'll have Wei Hong and Dr. Sa as a pair on Amazing Race.
How cool is that?
Tune in, guys.
We'll see the world, right? I mean, you get to travel around the world for that, right?
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, sure.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Well, it's then again, it's TV. So how much is the
Yeah, they're going to make sure nobody dies.
Yeah, right.
I'm not going to die. If I'm like, so that's what I say all the time, and I think that's something that you probably took away from the military, seeing what you did being a triage officer, is that you saw life and death happen right in front of you, like in an instant. Here, gone, right? And this is something that I, not that I went through that whole same process, but I have had not an opportunity, but I've had experience that someone passing away in my arms before. Whoa. And so it's really an interesting thing when you it puts life into perspective. How many times has that come up for you, as an entrepreneur? Because I know it's come up a lot for me, where you're confronted with this challenge and you catch yourself spiraling, and then you go, wait, is anybody going to die right now? Am I going to die right now? If not, this is not a problem. It's something that we just need to solve and move on. Has that happened to you? I mean, has it been like so bad that you're like, oh my God, and you catch yourself stressing out about it, and then you remember, is anybody going to die?
Sure. I mean, another, I like to share with, life is between alphabet B and D. There's a C. Every morning we have a choices make. Every morning. I call triple C's. Choice to make. Once you made a choice, you have to change your attitude. Either good or bad, we have to make changes. Once you change made that from the choice you made, you have to challenge yourself. So answer to your question, right? That I challenge myself every day. Yes, why should I? Could I? Would I? But I have to challenge myself to make the foundation a little more stronger than yesterday, or even 1 minute ago. Yeah. So once the foundation is set, then everything falls apart. But people want easy money, or easy access, easy whatever it might be. Yeah. But you have to earn your dues, we've so-called.
Yeah. I mean, put in the work, put in the time. It's just you don't just you don't own yourself to like success, right?
Right. Exactly.
Oh, we have a new message from Cory Freitas.
Oh.
He said he's listening. So, Dr. Suh, you're an amazing person and mentor. Thanks for all your support and great advice. Wei and I will run a Spartan or Tough Mudder with you.
Sure.
All right. Cory, you put it out there. It's now public.
Okay. Thank you, Cory. Appreciate it.
So we can go to one of those events to kind of like practice and train. But amazing race. I mean, ask your sister, and maybe we can get some connections in place to see how we can, fast track Dr. Suh into that program. And you want to do it, right?
Yeah, I really do want to do it. That's one of my bucket list.
Okay.
So now that you said it, I feel like it's out there. After everything that we've heard, it's about time.
It's about time. We got to make it happen.
I'll be coming back from my trip, and I'll see Dr. Suh on TV.
It's like, and hopefully I'll be there with him. It's like, hi. I'm navigating. I'm doing the GPS. He's calling the shots because he was the triage officer. He knows how to make quick decisions.
Goodness.
But I think so much. There's so many gemstones from today's. Just kind of like I want to thank you so much for sharing all the different stories. And I know there's stories that I've heard before that you didn't even share yet.
I know.
There's like the very detailed life and death story that you shared with me was. And I'm sure there's a ton of them while you were there, serving the country. So what I want to do right now is, you obviously have a business. You obviously have a variety of different things that you do, and then you have a specialization. I want you to tell the audience now, what is it that you specialize in? I mean, because we tell entrepreneurs all the time, pick a niche that you specialize in, something that you are, you can hang your hat on. Say, this is what I do, and this is what I do well.
Well, as being a dentist, yes, I'm a general dentist, but I specialize in sleep apnea.
And what is that, sleep apnea?
Apnea is basically people stop breathing when they sleep.
Oh my God, that's how Reggie
White,
White,
number 56 linebacker from Green Bay Packers. And if you're a football fan, everybody knows. So he died from sleep apnea. And
so it's also life death.
It's a life death, yes.
Literally with the breath.
Exactly. If I stop breathing, it doesn't matter what time of the day. If I stop breathing, I die. So unfortunately, many people stop breathing when they sleep. One of those reasons causes snoring. There's 91% of the human population snores. Degrees are different. Some people snore very mildly. Some people work on next door neighbor. But the 91% of those people snore in human population. So
how is snoring related to inhibiting breathing while you're sleeping?
Because your airways shrink
when you're snoring.
Yes, it shrinks. So the limitation of oxygen going to your brain. So out of that 91 to 70, I think like 72% people stop actually breathing when they sleep. Again, degrees are different. Okay, so it's a very serious illnesses.
And this is like you don't even know because you're sleeping.
Exactly. So I try to help them fabricate these oral appliances you wear. If you go to a medical doctor, they'll give you because CPAP machine is a real fast. I call Jason's mask. Yeah. But but I give oral appliances.
Halloween.
Yeah, Halloween. Freddy's mask. Okay?
Like, is this another football player?
No, not exactly.
So I give oral appliances to help them breathe.
Wow.
So I've been making many of appliances for the patients. So I like to help people because we all know sleep apnea has no discrimination. It doesn't matter male, female, ethnic group. People stop breathing. People snoring every day.
So how does one get sleep apnea? I mean, that's
because basically the airways just shrink.
So that's just like a genetic?
With posture of sleep. So airways just shrink, so we have to expand, so oxygen could go into the brain. That's how we live. Okay, so I'm helping the appliances, the oral device in your mouth, that opens the airway.
But is it something you're just like born with? And
no, well, the research said no, it's not. But there's arguments among medical field.
Okay, naturally,
but not many. Dentists is very limited. There's not many people know about it, how to do it. I'm one of those guys that do it and teaches it throughout the country.
So it's an implant that you...
No, it's an oral device. Oral device, oral appliance you wear like a night guard, like a retainer.
Okay.
I make them so open airway.
Right.
So the oxygen going to normal oxygen, the pace that goes into your brain.
Speaking of which, I think I need a night guard, so I need to go see you.
Yeah. Well, so
that
people think the typical dentist in a German field, German field. But then I try to do more than just German.
Well, you're saving lives that way. Sleep apnea.
Exactly. I'm actually saving lives. So,
gosh.
So anyone out there who needs some, opinion or talk about it, or just I'd be glad to help.
So do you have like a next lecture seminar lined up? Is there somewhere where people can come
next week
and see
I'll be going
you?
to Mexico. Also I specialize in implants. Again, I specialize implant, live surgery in Mexico.
Right.
So I bring an American doctor to Mexico to help them, teach them how to do implant dentistry.
So a lot of what you do right now is actually teaching and training doctors. And dentists.
Yes.
So you actually, because of your experience in the military, you can do dental work both in your clinic as well as hospitals.
Correct.
Which means that you can actually use any kind of insurance for what you do.
I'm only general dentist has credential to OR surgery in Torrance Memorial Hospital, which is one top 100 hospital.
Come to Torrance.
Really?
Yeah. So dentistry is a little different than So.
I'll walk in the hospital like, I need to see Dr. Suh, thank you.
No, it doesn't work that way. Just call me before, please.
So speaking of calling you, what's the best way that people, after hearing this and they want to ask you questions like, to find out whether or not they're suffering from sleep apnea? Because sometimes you don't know, right?
Sure.
How do they get a hold of you? What's the best way?
Oh, well, 2 ways. One is an office number. It's 310-326 8572.
Okay, and we'll put that in the comments section too.
And then my website is very simple, Saw Dental.
SUH.
Yeah.
Okay, so Saw Dental is SUHDENTAL.com, right?
Yes.
And then if someone is looking to, who hears this and wants to bring you on maybe as a speaker or to do a training because they have a business around helping dentists and whatnot. How do they? Is that the same? Go to Saw Dental, or do they go to the other website?
The other website.
Okay, which is?
I am an Institute of Omega Implant.
Okay, so that's Institute Omega. We'll put both of those links in the comments.
Institute Omega.
Institute of
Mega
Implant. So Institute of Mega
Implant.
like Mega Man, MEGA,
okay.
implant.com. And like I said, we'll put that in the comments and everything. So very cool. So they just basically go there, get a hold of you, and if you just want someone amazing to work on your teeth and who's knowledgeable and knows how to keep you alive and can inspire you at the same time and because he can't help himself, he'll inspire you as his patient as well. Go check him out at Saw Dental. I've known this guy for years. He's amazing. He's done some really amazing work. And I just want to thank you so much, Dr. Suh, for
you.
finally getting on the show.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
I know. Nothing to be nervous about, right? Okay, so very, very cool, guys. So that's it for this week. If you want to if you have more comments or more questions, you're not hearing this for the while it's live, we can still get the questions over to Dr. Suh, and like ask. I said, or you just call him directly, because we're going to put the number right in the comments. So that's pretty much it. Thank you for another amazing week.
Thank you, guys.
And
thank you, Dr. Suh.
Catch us next week, same bat time, Tuesday at noon Pacific Standard. Stop money anxiety now. All right, have a great week, everybody.